We want to talk more about Romney's Florida resurgence with MSNBC political analyst Richard Wolff. So, Richard, a lot of people looking at this, seeing also the fact that there was this big New York Times article on the Romney team resetting after South Carolina, the debacle that happened there. But looking at the numbers now and also at the debates, is this basically now Mitt Romney's to lose? He's done the hard work. He's done the organization on the ground to sew it up there.
Well, he's done the expensive work. The number you really need to focus on is the amount of money Romney has spent over and above what Gingrich has spent. And between Romney and his super PAC, that's a $12 million difference just between the two of them. And these numbers can go crazy. You know, we lose track of what the scale is on these things. But the average Senate race in the last election was $3 million. That's $12 million. 4 times that is just the advantage Romney's had on the airwaves, and that's had a real impact on those poll numbers you were just talking about.
Richard, we want to bring in Mark Caputo to the conversation. He's a political writer for the Miami Herald. And Mark, we know that there are 10 different media markets in Florida, 2 different time zones. A lot of ground to cover there. But let's take a look at this new Quinnipiac poll out this morning, showing, though, that 24% of Florida Republicans still might change their mind. So is there a window cracked for Newt Gingrich? And if he loses big, how badly would his campaign be crippled moving out of Florida?
I don't know if there's a window cracked. You might actually have to knock out the window to get through this one. I can't think that all the polls are wrong. At the very least, he's losing by 5 percentage points, and at the most, it's 14 percentage points. You got to believe it's in there. Mitt Romney's been on the campaign trail for quite a while. He's been advertising in Florida, on television, on radio, English and Spanish, sending out mailers, making phone calls. He's been doing this for a month. There's almost 600,000 Republicans have voted so far by early ballot. So he's probably banked a whole lot of votes, and he's got the momentum now. Does it cripple him going forward? You know, Newt Gingrich was kind of living off the land when it was just him and Callista, when he had no staff. He could probably do it again. But at a certain point, the media narrative becomes that Newt's got to drop out, money dries up, and there's only so much money that Sheldon Adelson from the Las Vegas Sands is going to kick in to help him out.
And Richard, when we talk about how the narrative has changed for Mitt Romney, basically turning the wealth conversation and his business savvy back around on itself to make it more of an asset going into Florida voting, our polls also showing electability is the big concern here, beating Obama as the standout issue for Florida Republicans. Romney's winning that argument there in the Sunshine State, but he didn't in South Carolina. So would a win in that state of Florida silence critics on the issue moving forward?
Well, we're seeing this flip around, a lot of volatility. It's changing from state to state. And if you look at that you combine the issues question with values, you come up with something equal to electability. So I don't think this is fixed for the races moving forward. February is a much better month in terms of the states moving forward for Romney. But there's a long time when not much happens. And in that period, you can see some of these old debates about values, about wealth, about their past resumes, both of these men really coming to the fore once more.
Mark, let's talk about the fact that Mitt Romney is heavily courting the Latino voters. I mean, every candidate is. Let's not be shy about that. But how is it that the candidate who says that he is going to veto pro-immigrant legislation, and he brought up topics like self-deportation of immigrants, how is he doing there in the state? How is that really actually resonating with the huge voting bloc that is Latino?
Well, according to our poll, he's resonating really well. Like he leads by 2-to-1 margin among Hispanics. But you got to understand, Florida's different from other states. It's different from the nation. Our 2 biggest Latino populations here are Cuban and they're Puerto Rican. Cubans have asylum, a path to citizenship as soon as they land on U.S. shores. And then you have Puerto Ricans. They're U.S. citizens. They're not as affected so much by the policy of these immigration crackdowns or immigration loosening that's being proposed. They're more affected by the tone and tenor of the immigration debate, and that's what Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio are warning the Republican candidates to beware of. You know, on the rich thing, by the way, Florida just elected a very rich man to be governor in 2010. So the wealth argument to be used against Mitt Romney is not going to work. Same with Medicare fraud. Governor Rick Scott headed a company that, after he left, was fined a huge amount for Medicare fraud. The voters here in both the primary and the general election still chose him for office. This is a slightly different electorate now, but
right.
Those attacks are just not working on Mitt Romney.
Gentlemen, thanks so much. Mark Caputo of the Miami Herald, Richard Wolff. Great to see both of you this morning. Again, thank you.